Hello, this is Carl, and this little video is about the promise, what Neville Goddard calls the promise. And there's two sides really to Neville's teachings. One is the law and one is the promise. And to give you a bit of a quick overview, here's the story of creation. So there's only one being, and that one being we call God or Allah or Messiah or Jesus Christ or any number of names, but there's only one being. And most religions agree that God is in everything. Okay, God is present in everything, therefore God must be present in you, must be present in me. And what happened was this one being decided that he was going to do a bit of an experiment and create this physical reality and these experiences, and it created this playground called Earth so that the higher selves of us, or the spiritual beings, or the souls, or the children of God, or whatever you want to call them, could come down and play in this playground and have a physical experience. And then God locked itself out of this matrix, for want of a better word, in order that we would have free will. So God gave us his powers to co-create, and then set up this playground called Mother Earth with the intention that we would come down here and that we would play and be happy and joyful and laugh and help each other and have a wonderful time. And what would happen is when we took on the qualities of God, okay, so unconditional loving, compassion, happiness, joy, etc., when we match the energy of God, then the God force would be able to reincarnate back, would be able to manifest down inside of us and experience this playground as well. So that's the story, that's the promise. So the other side to it is the law, and it's the operational law of the matrix. So the operational law that Neville teaches is imagination creates reality. So we have our imagination is God, and our job, or what we're learning, is to focus our imagination on what it is that we desire to experience in our lives, and thereby co-create and pull that to us. And there needs to be an energy match. So I'm here, I'm imagining whatever it is I'm imagining, let's say a holiday, and the holiday is already being created because everything has already been created. So I've chosen this holiday. Now I need to match that holiday, and when I match that holiday, I attract it in. So when the energy is the same, the holiday comes to me. All right, so that in essence is how the law works. But what's really pertinent in this day and age is the promise, and it's on right now. I mean, there's no other way of saying it. The world is a complete mess. You know, some of the children, some of the souls, some of the etc. have been a little bit misguided and clearly screwed up the world. And we've got, untold pollution, we've got anger, we've got wars, we've got all sorts of dysfunction in virtually every corner of this planet Earth. And the God force has decided that it's time to come back in and sort out what's going on. And so about 3 years ago in 2011, the energy was anchored back down onto planet Earth, and the light, which is the light of God, it's like a vibrational light and energy, anchored itself back down into planet Earth and started observing. Okay, so it's been here, locked itself out, anchored back down, been here since 2011, and I'm not sure what time it was, what month it was in 2011, but there's been a process going on of the God force observing and being in every man, woman, child, every situation on planet Earth and seeing what's going on. And this year is the year the God force is actually, sort of coming into and guiding, or sort of starting to manage what's going on here to steer us back towards what was initially intended for planet Earth, which was a wonderful playground. So I cover quite a lot of this in a lot more detail in the Secret of Imagining seminars. I go into the game of life, what is the real game of life, and how to play the game of life, and then getting a vision for yourself. And a vision comes from your higher self. Most people are creating from their ego, and the ego is just a whole bunch of programs that are running in a person's unconscious mind, and most people are trapped in this sort of ego loop, which is driven by, you know, sort of advertising and media and suppression and all kinds of stuff like that. When you break out of that loop and you connect with your higher self, then you're getting a true vision for your life come into your life. And this is Neville Goddard talks about painting a portrait for your life, and it's really essentially having a vision for your life and then pulling that vision in. So how do we deal with what's going on at the moment? Because we had the 2012 end of the world scenario, and everyone's like, oh, the end of the world, and all these movies come out, etc. And now we're in 2014 and people are, oh, you know, it's not true, it's not going to happen, etc. But there's something called the gap, and the gap is where all creation stops. All right, and everything gets reset and then it gets restarted again. So everyone makes it, okay? Every man, woman, child, animal, etc. makes it through, all right? But the period that we're in now is like a period for us to evolve. It's a period whereby the God force can actually look at us and say, okay, how is that person doing? You know, are they inviting me in, etc. So the planet's worshipping all sorts of craven idols and false gods and all sorts of stuff like that. And the God force is back saying, hey, look, you are God, all right? I'm in you, you are God. Okay, how are you doing in this incarnation? How are you doing? What are you doing to help other people? What are you doing to help your brothers and sisters? What are you doing to actually help this shift happen? So the shift is on, then there's the gap, then there's a restart, and it's like, how are we actually managing to pull this through? So the promise is on, and what we need to do is to process our dark side. So everybody's got the dark side, the yin and the yang, even the God force has got the dark side. And what we need to do is like process that stuff and release it. Okay, and when we release that stuff, we come closer to having the attributes and the qualities of God within us, and it is easier for the God force to come back into us and offer us protection and guidance through this next 5-year period where the transition's going on. So the message here really is the promise is on, and on this page you'll find Neville Goddard's notes about the promise. He describes the actual experience that he went through, whereby the God force came back into him, and definitely worth a read, and it's on now, and it's going to happen little by little. Okay, so somebody who's out there sort of, you know, fighting a war or in a gang or something like that is kind of like on the dark side of life, right? And it's more difficult for the God force to come back into them, but they're not lost because God is in everyone and everything. Okay, so if there's no God in someone or something, then it doesn't exist. So the idea is to clear out the dark stuff, to let go of all of the patterns, and some of them are very, very subtle, and I'll give you some processes to deal with that. But to clear out all of the patterns, to have a clear vision for your life, to trust your higher self, to trust that inner guidance, to go within, to help other people, to get out there, help other people, and together we pull this through. All right? We pull this through and we end up in the new playground. So the promise is on, and I know that comes as sort of a to some people, but it's on. You've got the power of God, you've got the ability to co-create, and what you want to be doing is you want to get aligned to your vision, and you want to get as much power as you can, as fast as possible, get really aligned, and get out there and do some good stuff in the world, and help massage this through, because people need you. Okay? Alright, so enjoy the website, that's my message about the promise, and see you on the next video.